Hi, welcome back to Body and Spirit. I'm very pleased you've been able to take some time out today for your Pilates practice. Just a quick word before we begin, please remember that these exercises have been designed for people who are taking regular Pilates sessions. So if you are not currently working with a Pilates instructor, please check in with your doctor before you try any of these exercises, or check in with a fitness instructor if that's more appropriate. Let's begin. So we're going to start today in your standing parallel posture. And just take a few moments to come into this space. Leave everything else behind. And just become aware of your own body. And take the right foot, place it onto the outside of the foot, and just gently move the weight back so that it's balancing equally through all 5 of the balls of the toes and the centre of the heel. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, ensuring that once you're done, the feet are hip distance apart, second toe lined up with the little pelvic bones at the front here. This may change how you feel on your feet and knees, so begin to relax through the ankles, the knees and the hips. Taking a few lovely shoulder rolls backwards, breathing in as we roll the shoulders up, and breathing out as we settle the shoulders down. And on the next exhalation, letting the shoulders settle into place. And thinking now about lifting the pelvic floor gently upwards and inwards, connecting the belly button into the small of the spine, and feeling the waistline lengthen, particularly the back of the ribs moving away from the back of the pelvis as the pelvis drops down to the tail. Finally, feeling the crown of the head being gently drawn up to touch the ceiling as the soles of the feet feel connected or imprinted into the ground. We'll begin with your side reach, so taking the right arm, floating it sideways and upwards, letting the shoulders settle. Letting the head touch the ceiling as we move over, the ear touching the ceiling, the neck, the ribs following. Lifting pelvic floor and then drawing the spine back onto its alignment to let the arm float down. Same thing happening on the other side. And so each time we alternate the arm floats up, palm face down, forwards, inwards as the shoulder relaxes. And it's the spine that lifts and lengthens as the head moves, the neck, the ribs, the feet imprinting into the ground. Belly button remains to spine as we come back on alignment and let the arm float down. And each time the arm floats down, thinking of the palm moving face forwards and downwards as the collarbone widens. Taking the last one with the left arm. And as you come back onto your centre, beginning to think about your rise and ribcage closure. The arms travelling forwards and upwards as we press the soles of the feet into the ground and allow the heels a little lift. Lifting belly button, lifting pelvic floor as we float the heels back down and return the arms. We're going to breathe in as we float the arms up and press the balls of the toes into the ground. Exhale as we lift pelvic floor and soften the heels back to the ground as the arms lower. Inhaling as we reach and exhaling as we return. Breathing the in-breath right into the entire spine and connecting to the centre, the pelvic floor, the belly button as we lower. Taking the last one, and we'll leave the arms lifted as we lower the heels back down to the ground behind the skull for corkscrew arms. The shoulders shrug tightly up to the ears as we inhale and relax as we breathe out. The elbows open wider as you breathe in. Be careful not to push the chin or chest forwards. Exhale as the arms reach for the ceiling and circle all the way out and down. And then inhaling fully as the arms float up. Exhaling to lace the fingers behind the skull. The breath comes in then as we shrug the shoulders up and exhale as the shoulders relax down. The breath in opens the elbows wide. We keep the chin and chest from poking forwards. The arms reach up to the sky and the arms settle all the way back down to the sides. And you're ready to go once more, floating the arms up as we inhale and exhale to lace the fingers behind the skull. Inhaling to shoulder shrug and exhale to relax. Breathing in to open the elbows wider and exhale to reach the arms up, out and down. And for the last time, floating the arms up, breathing in and breathing out to lace the fingers behind the skull. Shoulders shrug as we inhale and exhale to release. Inhaling, the elbows wider, keep the collarbones and the shoulders wide, and then reaching the arms up as we exhale and let the arms float down. Thinking about the roll downs, we take the breath into the entire spine to prepare, and exhaling, chin comes to chest and beginning to move through your roll down bone by bone. At the bottom, we'll stay there, take the breath in, and as we exhale, lifting belly button, allowing the tail to slide down as we roll back to standing. Breathing in. As we breathe out, chin nods to chest, and again we're rolling through the vertebra, one bone at a time. Inhaling to the tail at the bottom of that roll down, and exhaling to lift the belly button and roll it back up. And we'll take 3 or 4 more of these. Remembering as you roll down to imagine you have a wall behind your bottom and you cannot lean backwards or touch the bottom into that wall. And so as you roll down and roll up, the hips are remaining over the feet and not allowing the bottom to lean backwards. As you roll up, lift belly button and relax the joints of the legs, the ankles, the knees, the hips, so it feels like the pelvis is lifting away from the thighs. And as you roll down, imagining each bone of the spine trying to touch up to the ceiling, so the front of the body softens in on itself as the back of the spine lengthens and curls. And so we'll let the next roll down be the last one. Again, relaxing through the hips, no grippy bottoms as you roll down, letting the pelvic floor and the tummy be your stability. And as we come all the way back up to standing, we can let it stay there and take a moment to breathe before we come to laying down on your backs. If you like to use a cushion behind the head, then do feel free to place one of those in now. And we'll find your relaxation positions. Ensure the cushion is behind the skull rather than behind the neck, and have the feet comfortably close to the bottom. We'll think about taking the pelvis into neutral by first of all moving through some very gentle north-south tilts and mini spine curls. So the palms are either resting on the pelvis or palms face up resting on the ground. We're taking the breath in, and as we breathe out, pubic bone comes to belly button for your north tilt. Really imprint belly button into the ground and allow the pubic bone away from the belly button and towards the heels into your south tilt. Breathing out to the north, belly button imprints, hips relax, and then inhaling to south. Check into the neck and shoulders as you move north and you imprint the belly button. Are the shoulders and the neck, the jaw wanting to shift position, tighten or respond? Don't let them. As you move to south, do they want to move and respond? Don't let them. We'll take one more in each direction, north and south. And then beginning to come into your mini spine curls, you may want to move your head cushion away. Pubic bone to belly button then as we go to north, belly button imprints, and your feet are going to connect into the ground as the hips just float off the floor, and then coming back down. If the back of the thighs feel like they're working hard, bring the feet a little closer. Moving to north, belly button imprints. Belly button really imprints and hips relax as the pelvis floats from the ground. Feel the connection of the feet into the floor, and then coming back down through neutral and into south. And so we're only coming just high enough through that mini spine curl that the pelvis is just coming off the ground, the first couple of vertebrae moving away from the floor through the lower lumbar spine. And so now if you would like to take this higher, if you haven't already, you may need to bring your feet closer to your bottom underneath the knees. And we'll go again, north tilt. Firmly imprint belly button, hips float up, imprint feet. See how many of the bones peel away from the ground before you lose that pubic bone to belly button connection, and then let it come down bone by bone through the spine. Finding neutral, let it stay there. Pubic bone to belly button. And again, belly button really imprint. Relax the hips, let the bottom relax. Use the feet and the belly button to assist that curve through the vertebra bone by bone. And letting it come down. So we're taking one more, and then we're going to progress on into your single knee folds. So holding this position at the top. If you're ready to work with a challenge, you can stay in this lovely spine curl position and move the arms to your rib cage closure and leave them there. Whether you choose to use the arms in rib cage closure or have them by the side of the hips, that's a little easier, is up to you. And we maintain this position as we peel the heel of one foot from the ground. Balls of the toes press into the floor as the foot fully peels away, and then coming back down through that foot, toe ball heel. Imprint the feet firmly into the floor. The leg you're standing on, press that foot into the ground. Keep the north tilt strong as you lift heel, ball, toe on the other side and return it down. So we're marching the feet one at a time away from the floor. Maintaining the stability by imprinting the standing foot and keeping that north tilt strong. Pubic bone to belly button to spine. Up to you how much you lift the foot from the floor. A full single knee fold is perfect if you're there. If not, a simple heel lift will do. We'll take the last one on the left hand side, and then as you come back into your spine curl position, rolling it back down through the vertebra, lengthening the spine as you go. And then once you're in neutral, if your arms are reaching, simply return them to the side of the hips. Take a moment to let the pelvis relax and rest, and then we'll lace the hands behind the skull for your curl-ups. Inhaling to prepare and exhaling to nod the chin to the chest, peeling up, head, neck, upper back. Inhale to let it go. If you haven't yet done so, you may need to adjust the feet by taking them a little further away from the bottom. Have the feet placed where you can feel those hips fully relaxed. The pubic bone lengthening for the toes, the tailbone lengthening for the heels. The pelvic floor lifting and the belly button engaging for pelvic stability. And the hands, using the weight of the head into the hands as you curl up and down, so the hands can work like traction to draw the head from the neck from the upper back from the lower spine. And then beginning to think about your oblique curls. Chin comes to chest, and as you curl up, turning head, neck, ribs, pelvis stays absolutely still, and then coming back down. Chin nods to chest, changing sides, we turn head, neck and ribs as you curl up, and then coming back down. And as you alternate side to side, and once the chin has come towards the chest, it's a very equal movement, only rotating and coming sideways as much as you're curling up and down. As soon as you lose the ability to come higher, no more rotation. As soon as you lose the ability to rotate, don't come higher. And let's progress on, adding in the single knee folds. If this is a step too far, then stick with the feet on the ground, and we're taking the last 3. If you are taking the knee folds, ensure that the foot leaves the ground at the same moment as the head and returns to the ground at the same moment as the head, keeping pelvis still. As we come back to rest, letting it breathe and relax there, and allowing the body to come once more into relaxation position. We're going to roll it onto the side now. So again, we'll bring ankles, knees tightly together, double leg slide, lifting pubic bone to belly button, and then rolling over onto your side. And you may well need your cushion now between the head and the arms. In class, we've been working quite a lot with tying the bands around the ankles. If this is good for you, pause this now and place your band around the ankles. Restart when you're ready. So we're taking the top arm and reaching it to the side of the ear, back into that rib cage closure position. And we have a lovely long reach through that arm, but relaxation through the shoulder blade. And the leg is reaching away, equal and opposite reach through both legs and both arms. Connect pubic bone to belly button, ensure the hips and lower back are relaxed as we take the top leg into its lift and lower. We'll take the last 4 of these. And on the last one, leaving the leg lifted. Be careful how high you keep the leg, because the underneath leg now has to connect and release and join that top leg into the underneath leg, lift and lower. If you can't connect the underneath to the top leg, bring the top leg down a little bit. It may be that the leg doesn't move at all, and that's absolutely fine. The intention is what matters. We'll keep both legs together, and you may well need to place your hands onto the ground in front of you now for your double leg circles. We're taking 5 in each direction. Please remember, if you find it difficult to do the double leg circles without moving through your centre, then top leg only is absolutely fine. Complete your last one and let the legs come to rest. Taking the top leg into its turn out, we're thinking about your oyster. So drawing the top leg into a bent knee, keeping the pelvis still as you do, and then drawing that leg back out and down. Bending the leg up, moving through the développé to find the oyster position, and then moving it down. And so we're trying to keep that leg in turn out as we work, really rotating the thigh bone around but relaxing through the hip. The knee opens to wherever it can. So the main priority here is that the pelvis doesn't have to rock and roll back and forth. The next time that the knee lifts up to the top, we let it stay there. And thinking about the oyster movement, we allow the knee to drop forwards towards the ground into parallel, and then opening the oyster, rotating the thigh, the knee moves back up. So the challenge here is in allowing the thigh bone to turn in and to turn out, keeping the hip relaxed enough to allow that movement, and keeping the pelvis still enough that it doesn't roll with the movement of the leg. And that's going to dictate how small or how big your oyster movement is. Complete the last one, let the leg fully extend and relax, and we shall move directly onto the other side. So again, if you are strong enough in your centre, it would be lovely to take the top arm all the way into its reach, softening the ribs and chest and allowing the lower back to feel long by lifting pubic bone to belly button. Top leg and top arm are reaching equally away from each other, but if the balance isn't there, then do keep the hand on the ground as we move into lift and lower with that top leg. I'm also thinking about the length at the base of the skull, the little baby hairs being drawn away from the back of the neck. And again, we'll start moving into your underneath leg lift and lower. So set the top leg where you need it to be, underneath leg joining it and lowering. No harm in changing the position of the top hand should you need to. And remember to keep breathing. Let's take the last 2 or 3. And then we will be keeping the legs tightly together for your double leg circles. If you're working doubles, great. If you can keep the arm reaching, rest it on the floor if you have to, and circling the legs around. We're taking 5 each way, and remember, if you need to have the underneath leg resting on the floor and take top leg circles, absolutely fine. And making sure either way that the pelvis is absolutely still as I turn from the hips. Let the last one come to rest, and we'll take the top leg into its turn out position. As I bend up the knee, draw the toe along the underneath leg, I'm pushing the top hip away and I find my oyster position, and then move that leg back down. Moving through the développé to find oyster, and then moving it back down. Keeping the underneath side of the waistline slightly lifted and using just enough pelvic floor, belly button to spine to keep the pelvis still. Let's take the last 3. And again, no harm in working the supporting hand in different places depending on how much you want to challenge your centre. Keeping the leg lifted, we stay there, and the pelvis stays absolutely still, almost pulling that top side of the pelvis back as the knee lowers down into parallel. Rotate the thigh bone and the knee will open back up. Allow the knee to lower, the bottom relaxes, the core very strong, and then rotating the thigh as the knee opens back up. Breathing can really help with this one. Inhaling to lower and exhaling, pelvic floor, belly button connect as you open. And we shall leave that knee looking at the ceiling as we let the leg extend and lower down. Moving on to the tummy, we're going to think about your diamond press. Feel free to keep the cushion in place and rest the hands onto the cushion so the nose is just coming off the edge of the cushion, or the forehead is resting in the little gap made by the connection of the index finger and thumbs. The elbows are lengthening and relaxing into the ground. And the most important thing to double check here is that real relaxation through the chest and shoulders. I'm going to begin by lengthening the thighs out and away, and lengthening the tail towards the heels, the pubic bone towards the belly button. Breath is coming in to prepare, and breathing out to move the head forwards and upwards as I lift bone by bone into the diamond press. Inhale to let it come back down. Breathing out, moving forwards and upwards. The more I move, the softer and heavier I let my chest be to the ground. And then inhaling, heavy chest as it comes back down. Let's keep it going, and if you start to feel in any way movement or discomfort in your lower back, make the movement smaller. Diamond press is a tiny movement, cobras are for bigger. This is really all about getting the upper back moving at shoulder blade level. Great if you've been sitting at a desk a lot recently. Taking the last one, and then letting it come to rest. And we'll grab a hold of one foot and pull that foot in towards the bottom. If you struggle to do this laying on your tummy, then do feel free to move onto your side instead. You might need to have the underneath leg bent. Whether you're on your side or whether you're on your tummy, we are drawing belly button into the spine and separating the knee, pushing away as the ribs relax and lift up. So we're getting a long line between knee and ribs. Taking 2 more breaths into the front of the thigh. And as we complete the last breath, we can swap legs. Again, swapping sides if you need to do so. I'm thinking about lengthening the knee away from my torso. I'm thinking about softening the diaphragm so the ribs can move away from the pelvis. And as the breath allows that whole front length and waistline expand, I can breathe into the front of the thigh for the last 2 breaths. Still connecting pubic bone to belly button to spine to protect the lower back. And then once we're done, we can move the bottom onto the heels into the rest position. I'm going to take 4 or 5 breaths in this position, and if you're familiar with working through this with me and you have various options that you like to take, the side reach or the toes tucking under, then use this time as you need to. So completing the last breath, and we'll come to sitting on the side. Thinking about working through the mermaid to begin with. So if you like doing this with the ball, then you might want to grab one of those and do that now. I'm going to place the ball at the side of the hip and rest the hands, the fingertips and balls of the fingertips, if I can say it like that, are predominantly connected with the ball. The legs are tucked around in the opposite side, and remember you can have the legs, the knees as wide or as close as you need to, working in long frog if you have any hip issues. Softening the chest down, lifting the pelvic floor up. We're going to move the arm away from the ball into the floating arm. Moving into the side reach as we did at the beginning, lifting ear, neck, side of the neck and armpit, and gently pressing down into the ball so the elbow moves into the waistline and the shoulder is dropped away from the ear on that underneath side. Belly button lifts to bring you upright, float the arm down. Of course you can stick with this, but if you want to start extending and increasing the difficulty of this movement, once you've reached into side reach, you can think about extending the underneath arm straight and maybe even rolling the ball out along the upper arm. Of course you can do that with the ball, and if you don't have it, you can still do that without imagining the ball is there. Let's take the last one. And then coming back to the centre, we'll move into your side bridge. So if you have a ball, just popping it away and resting the palm of the hand instead onto the ground. Level 1, we have knee on top of knee. Level 2, we have the ankles interlaced so you can take straight legs. We're reaching the top arm long and away. Breath is coming in, and as you breathe out, pressing the palm of the hand into the floor, moving into that side reach mermaid feeling. Hips elevate, shoulder is away from the ear as we reach into that side bridge. Pelvic floor, belly button lift, and keep pressing the hand into the ground as you lower. So the hand presses down, the side starts to move into the side reach, and you can fully extend, pressing the ground away with the underneath hand as you lower. So nice to be able to feel the pressure into the ground with the hand and the side reach or the mermaid movement as you lift before the hips actually lift. And of course, inner thighs squeeze if you're working level 2. Let's take the last one. And as we come back to sitting, we can switch and swap sides. Reintroducing the ball for the mermaid if you'd like to. Taking the hand away from the ball into side reach. Pressing the ball down, bending the elbow. Remembering to keep the underneath shoulder away from the ear. That's where the ball can be quite nice to use for a bit of feedback as you push. I'm not moving my pelvis at all. That's staying absolutely still. Admittedly not neutral. One side of the pelvis is higher than the other. But keep connecting pubic bone to belly button to spine. Thinking about moving out into the extended mermaid if you'd like to. And we'll take the last 3 or 4. If you are moving out into the extended mermaid, thinking or reminding yourself to complete the arm float and the side reach first. and then to extend the elbow, and then to roll the ball along the arm, bending the elbow as you come back in. Completing the last one. And then taking the ball away for your side bridge. Choose level 1, knee on top of knee. Level 2, ankles interlaced, reach the top arm away. Pressing the hand into the ground. I'm also pressing my foot into the ground as I move into my side reach and my mermaid. Hips lift, inner thighs connect. So you've got a full body, full center connection here. Foot and hand pressing down, side reach moving you up through your center. Inner thighs squeezing and connecting to strengthen your center. And shoulder is relaxed as you come down. I'm going to take the last one or two. And as we come all the way back down for the final time, we can bring the legs around in front of us, taking them comfortably wide. Comfortably wide, it's not really a comfortable position, isn't it? But make sure you're not overly opening the legs and it's making you try to lean forwards. Feel like you're back on your sit bones. And we're going to work through a little bit of hip mobility. So resting yourself into the bridge of the fingers behind you. And then we can lean slightly back, keep shoulders relaxed, elbows soft. And we can flex up on the right foot and draw the knee away up towards the ceiling. Turning the knee in towards the floor at the front, out towards the floor at the back for the internal, external rotation. But I'm moving from the thigh, right? I'm saying knee because that's the bit that's obviously moving, but it's the thigh that's rotating and the pelvis staying absolutely still. If the knee is painful as you do this, make the movement smaller or stop. Bring the knee back up to ceiling, push the heel away, extend the ankles, tips of the toes, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Taking the last two each way. And then pushing the heel away, letting the foot extend, and we'll come right up onto the sitting bones for your saw. If you normally use the ball to help with your seated position, then absolutely feel free to place that. Just lifting those butt cheeks away and the arms nicely wide out to the side, the feet flexed. Rotating, head, neck, ribs, arms continue, palms turn in the direction of travel, rolling down through the spine, crown of the head to the knee. Fingertips reach away from each other 3 times. Rolling back up to sitting, changing sides. As I take my rotation and reach, I make sure that the bottom behind me is connected to the ground. The leg behind me is pushing gently away. Let's do one more in each direction. And then we can come back to centre, take the ball away if you have one, and bring the legs tightly together, ready for your rollbacks. If you normally like to use a band for your rollbacks, then feel free. If you prefer not to, absolutely fine. Obviously with a band, you're going to have a slightly smaller curve through the spine to prepare, and without a band you'll have a much bigger forward stretch and reach. And then as you begin to roll back, belly button to spine, shoulders are relaxed, and here we can practice the spine curl again. Keep the elbows soft as you move pubic bone to belly button, Belly button into the ground and relax the hips and the bottom. And pushing the soles of the feet into the band, or indeed pushing the soles of the feet away from the thighs if you have no band, as the hips relax and belly button comes to spine. As we take the roll up, I'm thinking about my curl up. Chin nods to chest and breastbone softens heavy into the ground to allow the roll through the upper back. That allows the belly button to imprint into the lower back, hips to relax and feet to push away as you roll up. Let's keep it moving for your last two. And as you complete the last one, you can let it stay laying all the way down on the back. And we'll bend up the knees into your relaxation positions once more. Do use a cushion behind the head if you'd like to. And thinking about your hip rolls, choose to keep the feet grounded or to bring the knees up into double knee fold. Absolutely fine if you want to challenge further to use shoulder drop position, again whether the feet are lifted or whether the feet are on the ground. And so as we move sideways, we rotate the pelvis, we press one side of the pelvis into the ground so the other side of the pelvis can lift up and over, and that initiates the rotation of the spine. Coming back to centre, breastbone, ribs, pelvis. And again, let one side of the pelvis lift as the other side presses down. And that will allow the rotation to flow from bottom upwards through the spine. So that idea of tipping the pelvis, one side lifting, one side lowering, gives you a lovely initiation to that movement. And again, that works whether the legs are lifted or the feet lowered. We're also thinking about the softness in the chest and the relaxation in the arms, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. So as I'm rotating, I'm keeping the base of the skull pulling away from the back of the rib cage, and the tail or the back of the pelvis lengthening towards the feet in that lovely long separation. So the pelvic movement and the rotation of the spine also has lots of space and length to it. Complete the last one on the right and on the left. And as we come back to the centre for the final time, we'll let it stay there. And take a small stretch through the back of the legs. So again, if you like to use a band for this, you can wrap the band around the sole of the foot. Or you can simply keep the leg lifted, resting the hands on the back of the leg. Choose what's happening with the underneath leg. Is the foot on the floor with the knee bent up, or is the leg extended out along the ground? Doesn't matter which you choose. The top leg, we want to keep the pelvis neutral, so if you have to have a slight bend of the knee to do that, then please do. You do not have to have the leg fully extended. And we're staying here for 2 or 3 breaths. Gently moving the leg back and forth. Gently taking that leg into mini circles, keeping the pelvis absolutely still so the thigh bone is stirring in the hip joint, and then changing direction. And again, you can still be using your band for this. Complete the last one, and then we'll simply switch and change legs. Choosing underneath leg, bend or straight, top leg bend or straight, band or no band, and 2 or 3 relaxing breaths, primarily to let the shoulders, the chest and the neck unravel. Allow the hip to soften and then moving the leg gently back and forth. Check that the foot is in line with the shoulder, not in line with the nose. And it's neither turned out nor turned in. And then again, little mini circles with that leg. Completing the last one, and then you can fully come to rest. And if you have toys, take them away and just finding your relaxation position for a moment. Staying in this relaxation position, be mindful of the breath coming in and out, and just taking a handful of shoulder drops, singles or doubles, to complete your work on the floor. As the shoulders drop for the final time, turning palms face to feet, let the arms rest down, keeping the collarbones wide. And then we can come up to standing and just reconnect to our standing positions to finish. This time having the feet connected tightly together for a small amount of one leg balance. Again, I'm just going to replace the padding of the foot back underneath and feel connected to the ball of the big little toes equally and the centre of the heels. And I'm checking into the joints of the ankles, knees and hips soft so I can connect and lift up through the centre. Opening collarbones and shoulder blades. And we can press the right foot down into the ground as we peel the left foot away. No change on that left foot or left side. So I'm lifting the left side of the ribs away from the lift of the pelvis. Taking the same arm as lifted leg up to the ceiling and windmill the arms or swap the arms over 3 times. I'm checking again the pressure of the standing foot into the ground, and then I can change direction with the arms as I reconnect to the lift of the pelvis off the thigh, the lift of the back of the ribs off the pelvis. I can let both arms come to rest and the feet come back together. Rising onto the balls of the toes in both feet, lowering the heels to recenter, and then peeling the other foot away, thinking about the standing leg, lifting pelvis off thigh, ribs off pelvis, skull off neck, and the same arm as the lifted leg is reaching for my 3 windmills. Belly button to spine is the strength here, pelvic floor lift is the strength here. Changing direction. The connection of the standing foot into the ground, but making sure the knee doesn't lock, is also your strength here. I can let both arms come to rest. I can place the feet back down hip distance apart. And again, I can roll the shoulders up and around as I breathe in and out. This time, I'm going to let the shoulders settle all the way down the back. I'm going to feel my connection to the floor, soft knees and hips. Feel my connection to the ceiling through the crown of the head. And ladies and gentlemen, you are done. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. I do hope you feel better, and I hope you find the opportunity to do this again very soon. Lots of love.